Many are sick through ignorance. And so what I'd like to do is I'd like to show you what some of the causes are and how you can get a turnaround in arthritis, whether it be osteo, rheumatoid arthritis, and also gout. And that's the good news. There can be a turnaround, and we've seen many conquer these things. Arthritis thrives in a very acid environment. So an acid environment in the body is one of the #1 causes of arthritis. Now, you can go back to look. Old injuries is often where arthritis can manifest itself, and there can be different factors there. There can be an inherited factor, there can be a factor of injury to that area which makes it a little bit more susceptible, there can be an acid environment. Often a breaking of these laws, as Ellen White says, that disease is an effort of nature to free the system from conditions that arise because of a violation of the laws of health.
Are you above 50 and your joints feel stiffer than they used to? As we age, it's normal to experience some discomfort in our bones and joints. Cartilage wears down, flexibility decreases, and even simple movements can become more difficult. But did you know that some everyday foods could be making things worse without you even realizing it? Even if you're younger, certain foods can trigger inflammation, weaken cartilage, and speed up joint damage. Avoiding these foods could make a noticeable difference in how you move, feel, and function on a daily basis. So what are these foods doing to your joints? Why do they cause harm? And what are the healthier alternatives that can support your joint health instead?
Many people take calcium to strengthen their bones, but I've got some sad news for you, it won't. Because bones are not made of calcium. So what are bones made of? They're made of 12 minerals and 64 trace. What are the 12 minerals? Yes, one is calcium, one is chromium, one is boron, another one is iron. Another one is magnesium, also manganese, selenium, silica, sulfur, potassium, phosphorus, and zinc, and 64 trace. So it doesn't make any sense to take calcium supplements. They won't strengthen your bones. What will strengthen your bones? These minerals. So where do we get these minerals? Seawater has the exact mineral and proportion and balance as is found not only in bones, but also in our blood, in every tissue, in every fluid, in what our brain cells swim in. And the good news is you don't have to drink seawater. There is a salt that you can buy, is the Celtic salt, and also the Baja salt. So that's what bones need. They need is to have a little bit of Celtic salt before every glass of water and to have it on our food.
Stay tuned as we break down the science behind the foods that are secretly destroying your joints and what you can eat instead to stay active and pain-free. Before we begin, take a moment to comment below and let us know where you're watching from. Also, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this. Let's jump into it.
The most acid food that can go into the body is the pure crystallized acid that's extracted from the sugarcane plant. It is incredibly acid. It's a pure acid. Also meat. Dr. Colin Campbell, in his book China Study, he shows how he could turn cancer cells on and off by the amount of meat and dairy products that he was giving them, because cancer loves an acid environment. These acid foods are high in the acid-forming minerals, which is chlorine and phosphorus and sulfur. When meat breaks down in the body, it gives off a high sulfur waste. So it's particularly acid-forming is the meat. Also the hybridized wheat of today. Wheat was hybridized in the 50s. It went through intensive crossbreeding. It was rushed through. No safety studies were done. They didn't think they had to do safety studies on just wheat. But the effect of it is being seen today. So many people are gluten intolerant, and one of the reasons is the hybridization of the wheat created an incredibly complex protein or gluten structure, so it's very difficult for the gut to break down. And it is higher in the acid-forming minerals. And when that wheat is grown with superphosphate, chlorinated water, so all of these conditions bring it together to make it more acid-forming. And most wheat today is grown with glyphosate or Roundup, so there's more acid-forming because all your chemicals have an acid effect. So your aged cheese is very acid-forming. So the only cheese that doesn't have an acid effect would be things like your goat feta or sheep feta. That they are basically on a neutral. Caffeine has a very acid effect on the body. Alcohol, not a food, but it certainly creates an acid environment. Tobacco, not a food, but it also creates a very acid environment. All your other grains, other than the millet, quinoa, buckwheat spelt kamut, and also all your other legumes, other than lima, lentil and soy, and all your other nuts, other than your Brazil and almonds, have an acid effect. To maintain a 6-point environment at the cellular level, we need to be taking probably 20 to 30% acid-forming foods. And this explains why, because some people see this and say, does that mean I can't eat rice? Well, you can eat rice. Yes, it is an acid grain, but you need a little acid. So it's not that they're totally out, but this 20 to 30% ideally should come from this little section here. And we should be having approximately 70 to 80% alkaline forming foods. What that will do is that will maintain the cellular pH conducive to recovering from arthritis. See, the blood pH never changes. Your lungs and your kidneys are constantly working to keep the blood pH in the area that it should be, but the cellular pH can change, and your cellular pH is influenced by the breaking of these laws. It's influenced by dehydrated, it's influenced by lack of oxygen, it's influenced by a very acid diet.
Number 1, refined sugar. Refined sugar is a simple carbohydrate that the body breaks down quickly into glucose. When you consume foods high in refined sugars, such as candy, pastries, sweetened beverages, and many processed snacks, blood sugar spikes rapidly. This spike triggers the pancreas to release insulin to clear excess sugar from the bloodstream. Over time, repeated spikes and insulin swings can lead to insulin resistance, a condition linked to chronic inflammation throughout the body. In joints, inflammatory processes involve immune cells releasing signaling molecules called cytokines, for example, interleukin-6 and tumor necrosis factor alpha. These molecules can degrade the cartilage matrix, the smooth tissue that cushions bones in a joint. Beyond its effects on blood sugar, high intake of refined sugar also alters the body's acid-base balance. During metabolism, sugar can produce acidic byproducts. The body must neutralize these acids to maintain blood pH within a narrow range around 7.35 to 7.45. When overloaded, buffering systems draw on alkaline minerals such as calcium, magnesium, and potassium to stabilize pH. Over time, this diversion of minerals can weaken bone density and reduce mineral content in cartilage. In addition, research shows that diets high in sugar lead to higher levels of C-reactive protein, CRP, in the blood, a marker associated with systemic inflammation and linked to worse osteoarthritis symptoms. Sugar also contributes to weight gain when consumed in excess. Extra body weight increases mechanical stress on weight-bearing joints, notably the knees, hips, and lower back. This increased load accelerates wear and tear on cartilage, hastening the progression of osteoarthritis. Studies have shown that every pound of extra weight can add up to 4 pounds of pressure on the knee joint during everyday activities like walking or standing. Furthermore, refined sugar lacks fiber, vitamins, and minerals that are present in whole foods. Without fiber, blood sugar rises more sharply, which further drives inflammatory responses. In contrast, whole fruits contain natural sugars alongside fiber and antioxidants, which temper sugar absorption and counteract inflammation. Regularly choosing whole fruits over sugary treats limits acid load and helps maintain balanced blood sugar. Number 2, processed meats. Processed meats such as bacon, sausage, hot dogs, deli slices, and cured meats undergo treatments like smoking, salting, curing, or addition of chemical preservatives. These processes enhance flavor, extend shelf life, and improve texture, but they can also increase the concentration of compounds associated with inflammation and oxidative stress. Nitrites and nitrates used in curing can form advanced glycation end products, AGs, during cooking. AGs bind to cell receptors, RAGE, on immune cells and chondrocytes, cartilage cells, promoting release of pro-inflammatory cytokines and reactive oxygen species. These factors accelerate breakdown of collagen fibers and reduce the ability of cartilage to resist compression. Processed meats are typically higher in saturated fat compared to lean cuts of meat or plant-based proteins. Diets rich in saturated fat increase production of arachidonic acid derivatives that promote inflammation. Arachidonic acid is converted into prostaglandin E2 and leukotriene B4, both signaling molecules that amplify inflammatory responses. Chronic elevation of these mediators can erode cartilage integrity, causing pain, stiffness, and reduced joint function. Beyond fats and preservatives, processed meats often have higher sodium content. Excess dietary sodium can contribute to osteoporosis by increasing urinary calcium excretion. When blood sodium levels rise, the kidneys filter out more sodium in urine, and calcium is carried along. Over time, this calcium loss weakens bone mineral density. Weaker bones are more prone to microdamage and fractures, and joints may lose some of their mechanical support. Furthermore, processed meats tend to contain fewer essential micronutrients compared to unprocessed meat or poultry. Cooking and curing reduce levels of B vitamins, zinc, and other minerals critical for collagen synthesis and bone remodeling. Zinc acts as a cofactor for enzymes like collagenase and alkaline phosphatase, which help maintain the extracellular matrix of bone and cartilage. Insufficient zinc slows tissue repair and increases susceptibility to joint injury. Studies have found links between high intake of processed meats and markers of systemic inflammation, such as elevated CRP and interleukin-1 beta. Observational data also suggests that people who consume large amounts of processed meats report higher rates of joint pain and osteoarthritis. While processed meats can be enjoyed on occasion, limiting their frequency and choosing lean, unprocessed protein sources such as fresh fish, skinless poultry, beans and legumes supports joint health through reduced inflammation, better mineral balance, and more efficient tissue repair mechanisms. Number 3, soft drinks. Soft drinks, especially colas, often contain phosphoric acid, along with high fructose corn syrup or sucrose. Phosphoric acid lowers the pH of the beverage, giving it a tangy taste, but when consumed regularly, it may disrupt the body's acid-base balance. To neutralize excess dietary acid, the body draws on alkaline mineral reserves, notably calcium and magnesium, from bone tissue. Over time, this mineral leaching can weaken bone structure and reduce bone mineral density. In animal studies, diets high in phosphoric acid resulted in lower bone strength compared with controlled diets, suggesting that frequent cola intake could pose a risk factor for osteoporosis. High-sugar soft drinks also contribute to weight gain. Excess body weight increases stress on weight-bearing joints, accelerating cartilage wear. In addition, sugar-sweetened beverages lack satiety. Because liquid calories pass through the stomach rapidly, people often do not compensate by reducing calories elsewhere, leading to higher total energy intake. This pattern promotes obesity-related joint degeneration, particularly in knees and ankles. Caffeine is present in many colas and can have diuretic effects, increasing urine output. If fluid loss is not balanced by adequate hydration and electrolyte intake, mild dehydration can impair joint lubrication, since synovial fluid production depends partly on water availability. Stiff or under-lubricated joints may feel less flexible and more prone to injury. Soft drinks also contain advanced glycation end products formed during high heat processing of syrups. AGs accumulate in joint tissues over time, stiffening collagen and proteoglycan networks, reducing cartilage resilience. Inflammatory reactions to AGs further promote degradation of joint structures. Epidemiological studies have linked high consumption of sugar-sweetened beverages to lower bone mineral density in adolescents and young adults, suggesting that early dietary habits may influence long-term skeletal health. To reduce risks, replace soft drinks with water, herbal tea, or sparingly sweetened beverages that do not contain phosphoric acid. Drinking plain water with meals helps maintain hydration, supports synovial fluid production, and avoids unnecessary acid load that could compromise mineral reserves. Number 4, alcohol. Alcohol has complex effects on bone and joint health. When consumed in moderation, 1 drink per day for women, 2 for men, it may have neutral or even mild beneficial effects on bone density, in part by increasing estrogen levels in postmenopausal women. However, higher levels of alcohol intake disrupt bone remodeling and promote inflammation. Ethanol metabolism generates reactive oxygen species and acetaldehyde, both of which can damage osteoblasts, cells that build bone, and promote osteoclast activity, cells that break down bone. The net result is reduced bone formation and increased bone resorption, weakening the skeleton. Chronic heavy drinking also interferes with nutrient absorption in the gut. Alcohol irritates the intestinal lining, which can impair uptake of calcium, vitamin D, magnesium, and other micronutrients essential for maintaining bone and cartilage health. Deficiencies in these nutrients limit the body's capacity to repair microdamage in bone and joint tissues, increasing fracture risk and promoting degenerative changes. Alcohol alters hormone levels, such as reducing testosterone in men and altering cortisol rhythms. Changes in these hormones affect muscle mass, joint support, and bone metabolism. Weaker muscles provide less joint stability, increasing the likelihood of strains, sprains, and accelerated cartilage wear under uneven loads. Heavy drinkers often have poorer balance and slower reaction times, raising fall risk and the chance of acute joint injuries. In terms of inflammation, alcohol increases levels of pro-inflammatory cytokines, such as interleukin-1 and interleukin-6. Chronic inflammation in joints leads to synovitis, swelling of the joint lining, and breakdown of cartilage components like type 2 collagen. Over time, this process contributes to conditions like osteoarthritis and can worsen pain in existing arthritic joints. Moderate alcohol use can be part of a balanced lifestyle, but frequent consumption of more than 2 drinks per day elevates risks for bone loss and joint damage. To protect joint health, limit intake to no more than recommended guidelines, pair alcohol with meals rich in calcium and magnesium, and stay well hydrated to support nutrient transport and joint lubrication. Number 5, calcium supplements. Calcium supplements, particularly those containing calcium carbonate or calcium citrate, are commonly used to support bone health. However, when taken without adequate vitamin D, magnesium, vitamin K2, and other cofactors, supplemental calcium may not be fully absorbed into bone tissue. Unabsorbed calcium can accumulate in soft tissues, arteries, kidneys, and joints, leading to calcification. Vascular calcification stiffens blood vessels and raises cardiovascular risk, but calcification in joints can contribute to stiffness and pain. When supplemental calcium enters the bloodstream in large boluses, as with a single large tablet, serum calcium can spike sharply. High transient calcium levels inhibit parathyroid hormone, PTH, release, reducing the signal that normally stimulates osteoblasts to deposit calcium into bone. Over time, this blunts the bone-building response, undermining the intended benefit of supplementation. Further, calcium supplements may interfere with the absorption of other minerals vital for bone and joint integrity. Excess calcium can compete with magnesium and zinc uptake in the intestine, leading to relative deficiencies. Magnesium is required for activating vitamin D through hydroxylation in the liver and kidneys. Without active vitamin D, calcium cannot be efficiently transported into bone. Zinc is needed for collagen synthesis and repair of cartilage. Deficits of these minerals weaken the structural framework of bone and joint tissues. Clinical trials have shown that calcium supplementation alone yields minimal benefit in fracture reduction when compared with dietary calcium from food sources. In contrast, diets rich in dairy or plant-based calcium sources, such as leafy greens, nuts, and seeds, provide calcium alongside magnesium, potassium, and other supportive nutrients in ratios the body evolved to use. Long-term studies also link high supplemental calcium intake to increased risk of kidney stones due to excess calcium excretion in urine. Kidney stones can cause systemic inflammation, which may indirectly affect joint health by increasing inflammatory mediators in circulation. Rather than relying solely on high-dose calcium pills, focus on a varied diet that includes dairy products or fortified plant milks, leafy greens, almonds, and small fish eaten with bones, such as sardines. Ensure adequate vitamin D through safe sun exposure or supplementation at moderate doses, guided by blood tests, and include magnesium and vitamin K2 sources, such as fermented foods and seeds, to support proper calcium utilization. This balanced strategy helps maintain healthy bones and joints without the risks associated with isolated calcium supplements. So now you know which everyday foods might be damaging your joints without you realizing it. Making a few changes to your diet could go a long way in reducing inflammation, easing joint pain, and helping you stay mobile as you age. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more health tips that actually make a difference. And if you've already made some of these changes, let us know how it's worked for you in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.